We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Our final segment this morning with Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall. We can take some phone calls, 737-7587. Just curious, as we move forward, I brought up topics and our viewers did as well. I like to ask you sometimes if there was anything else that you wanted to touch on. That we're heading into the holiday season now. I know you guys are going to be involved with the last second toy store again, and we'll do a lot more of that as we get closer to December. But anything on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind today is the Atlanta Braves won last night.
Their pitcher broke his leg.
I saw that, and I was, and I'm going to the World Series for the first time in my life. My mom is a huge Braves fan.
You guys are going?
She's watching.
Just so you know, here's a theory in our newsroom.
All right.
The theory in our newsroom is that the two inmates that walked away, are Braves fans, and they just wanted to get out. They're going to watch the World Series, and they'll turn themselves in. Now,
I'll bring them back. I'll bring them back. If they're down there, I'll bring them back.
Well, I'm saying on TV. Would they have access to, I wonder, do the inmates have access to watch the World Series on TV in the jail?
If it's on, depends on where they're housed, but if it's on the standard TV package, which is on Fox News, right?
Yeah,
Fox, so yeah, it would be covered in most.
So they would get to see. So that wouldn't be motivation for them to leave. So that theory out the window. But anyway.
I don't think they'll. And if I see them, I'll bring them back. I'll make sure of that. So
you are taking your mom to the World Series. What game are you going to?
Oh gosh, that's the other thing. It's so Game 5, which is Halloween night on Sunday night. The interesting part of the story is if they get swept or sweep, you don't get to go.
Well, they're not going to get swept. We know that. But think if you will not complain too much if they win 4 straight, will you? I know you really want to go see it.
Think about this. If they win 3 and lose 1, then I get to see the final game. It'd be awesome. That's pretty odd. Yeah,
it would be awesome. But you have tickets in for the.
Right, and my son, who's at Auburn, is also a huge Braves fan, so we're gonna sweep by, pick him up, and take him. And
that's great.
Yeah, and that's pretty close to Auburn. So, yeah, I got a big sports weekend. I'm looking forward to it, and going to Auburn Ole Miss game on Saturday night and World Series on Sunday night. I'm pretty lucky.
That'll be this weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Does anything happen at the jail for Halloween? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay.
No, I will tell you, it used to be.
You're gonna be gone.
It's been a long time, but when I used to work in the old jail, and I love these. Halloween night was a great night to work in booking because these people get out and dress up and they get arrested and they show up in things they don't know what, and they have to go home in those clothes 3 days later, and it's a clown face or whatever. But it's been a long time, so I don't know what the.
But nothing out of the ordinary for that. Even though I would think on Halloween night, that's probably a busy night for law enforcement.
It is.
You guys.
And one of the things I always remember, I used to say this to people a lot. I mean, Halloween. It's on a weekend. It's always a dangerous situation. Saturday nights is going to be probably a lot of parties, and kids are out walking around the streets on Sunday nights. I just please be careful. I hate to see Halloween fall on a weekend.
Right.
Because the parties and the kids, in the same street is not a good thing. So.
By the way, it's the PD, is it not, that checks to make sure that sex offenders are abiding by the guidelines? Because remember, I don't know if your deputies go out and do this at all, to check on, to make sure that, a convicted sex offender is not to be giving out candy on Halloween for children coming up to his door, correct?
Right. We don't do that, but police, and I believe even parole and probation, state probation parole do some of that.
And they send out the warnings, and most of them, again, abide by that rule, but they're not supposed to be in a house giving out candy, things like that.
Right. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, I guess I haven't looked at the weather here, but I always thought Halloween's a great time of year for young kids, and I just hate to see anybody take advantage of that. And anyway, not just this, but it makes me nervous when there's parties and people out driving and drinking, and there's kids walking in the streets. So just be aware of that. I guess Halloween night is on Sunday night.
Is it Sunday night?
Sunday night, I guess, and then Saturday. Yeah, so it'll be as everything else. We used to do sober ride on St. Patrick's Day, but the data always showed that when it lands on the weekends, Halloween was one of the more dangerous DUI weekends. So I'm hopeful that, and we got to go beat the Colts. I mean, we got to go beat the Colts.
We're talking, the Colts. This is going to be a fun sports weekend for you, man. You got some play. Well, you're not going to the Colts game, I know, but going to see Auburn, Ole Miss, and then the World Series game, and
I pay a lot of money to cheer for Auburn. I'm just telling you that. That's an expensive fan, but
I bet it's fun to see a game there, and that's going to be a good one. I think Auburn can beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is looking good, though.
It'll be a weird game.
I'm telling you, these Southeastern Conference teams, if it comes push to shove, they don't want any part of the Oregon Ducks. Okay, they don't want any part of the Oregon Ducks. They don't want any part of the Oregon Ducks, just so you know. Oh, let's just point out, Oregon went into Columbus and beat Ohio State.
They have nice uniforms.
Okay. They went in and beat Ohio State.
They have the nice uniforms.
Oh, whatever.
And a good personality. Was you the guy everybody said, you had a good personality?
Yes,
isn't that what they say?
I take that kind of as a compliment.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they have good uniforms. I mean, that sounds like Oregon has good.
They do. They had a paint splatter uniform last night. That's crazy. Hey, really, one quick question for you. You obviously supervise and run the Davidson County Jail. Who supervises and runs the Juvenile Detention Center there across from Nissan Stadium? And I bring that up too because you've heard the mayor now is talking about maybe it's time that we move that Juvenile Justice Center to a new location. Which I just wanted your take on that. Different mayor, different time. But I mean that is a beautiful facility. I've been in there when it first opened. From day one, it was too small, I think they said, and all that. What do you think? And do you supervise that as well?
No.
No, I knew you did.
But I was here through all that. What's weird, if you remember, we're tying two stories together here, but it was built in the wrong place. Don't forget, it was built in the stadium landed. It never should have been over there. It's a terrible place to have it just for the sake of that. But yeah, good luck to Judge Calloway and her people trying to navigate building a building with the city council and all the stuff you're going to deal with. I understand they bought the land that used to be the old Shrine Temple up on Trinity Lane. That's where they're trying to move, build a juvenile center and so forth. How that works is the Juvenile Detention Center, who the judge oversees, is a private contract. Now, it's worth noting the city council kicked and screamed and raised a lot of sand about private contracts. But there is a private contractor running the Juvenile Detention Center. Metro money is paying a private contractor to detain youth.
Has the sheriff ever run the Juvenile Justice Center going back? Ever? It's always been separate. But I mean, it's a detention. Why would the sheriff not? I mean, you're in charge of locking people up, whether it's a child or an adult, isn't it? Yeah,
that's a fair question. And I've had that question before. One thing we've done years ago is we would house a bound-over juvenile, a kid. We don't do that anymore either. But yeah, they have a different makeup of how they can determine who goes in and out, and so the judge maintains control of that. Probably, and Judge Calloway came in when she first won the election, came and asked us, would we take it over? And there's some legal challenges way back then, or we talked about. I don't know exactly how far it went. And then when the whole privatization conversation, CCA, and the council wanted to get rid of CCA, which wasn't any Metro money, but they didn't remove the juvenile contract. So I think what the plan is that the judge wants to try to build a building and wants to take over the private contractor herself once she gets in her new building. I've heard her say that. I don't know if it's still a plan. But as you well know, we spent 10 years trying to build buildings. Good luck to them, and hopefully they get it done and buy the land and build a building, and the council
and we bring that up because we all know that your preference is interesting. As I was walking to the Titans game with my wife on Sunday, we were going past there, and I just told her, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the sheriff and I did stories here. We're walking right by the jail, and I'm like, but just imagine what really could be here as we're walking to the stadium. I mean, we could stop and get ourselves a burger on our way over. Who knows what could have gone there, and yet it could have been out at Harding Place. Well, why didn't it? And I go, people there rated as ruckus, and the city council just shut it down. And the sheriff would have liked to have had it out at Harding Place, where, by the way, it's already there. There's stuff there. That's the whole point. I never. It's politics, my friend. I know. I'm sorry. So you're just going to leave here with a sour taste in your mouth. Look, the facility's very nice. It's there. It's good. I mean, right? You would prefer it in another location. Right. But I was just thinking, instead of walking past this jail, which it looks fine, could have been, gosh knows what could be there. That's a valuable piece of property.
It is, and the facility's fantastic. I mean, I will say our staff and everything else, but the truth of the matter is the city was better served not having it built downtown, and we went on to build a headquarters because that also was left out of the moves, and so that's turned out very well. And I'm done with construction projects. I never knew how much of my life I would pour into that, and God knows I'm done with that. So good luck to the juvenile court judge, and go Braves.
Yeah, go Braves. Sheriff, thank you. Have a great weekend. It sounds like you're going to have a ball. I'm jealous.
Excited.
And we'll see you again in a month.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Take a break. Be back with a programming note right after this.